Kakadosh Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. We're continuing now with halachot of Tisha Beav. There's going to be two different types of halachot. First of all, the first halacha is in Siman Tav Kufnum Bet, Sif Yud Bet is En Omrim Techina Erev Tisha Beav B'mincha Mishum Diikre Moed. Right? And if you came out on Shabbat, we don't say Tzikatecha, which means that since Tisha Beav is called a Moed for in the future, Bezrat Hashem, it will become a Moed. So therefore we do not say Tachanunim, not on Erev Tisha Beav or not on Tisha Beav in itself. Another important halacha is to do with the concept of Erev Tisha Beav. So Erev Tisha Beav, a person should not eat Seudat Hamafseket, which he's going to eat after Chatzot, Basar or Yain, and he cannot eat two different Tavshilin, which means he cannot eat two different types of food. But that is going to be only the closest meal to Tisha Beav, which means even if it's going to be after Chatzot and you're going to eat a few meals, or it's before Chatzot, the last one, remember it's the closest Seudat to Tisha Beav is called Seudat Hamafseket, and that is when it's going to be that you're not allowed to eat two different types of meals. Now, what happens is it's brought down in the halacha, in Siman Tav Kufnum Bet, Siv Zayin, that the minhag is to sit on the floor for Seudat Hamafseket. And women, as is brought down in the Lichot Olam, are also obligated to sit on the floor for Seudat Hamafseket. The next sif is a person should be careful not to have three people together sitting down. Why? In order not to be mitchayev and zimun, which means even though you just sit in Netilat Yadayim and you are eating bread, and now you're having bread with, let's say, your lentil soup or whatever it is that you're having, because remember that it cannot be more than one type of a food. And then what happens is that now when you're eating this food, right, if you're going to be in a group, now you do zimun. So therefore you eat separately, so therefore there's not going to be a zimun. The last halacha which we'll mention, which is very important also is Siman Tav Kufnun Gimel Sif Aleph says, Af al pi she'achal Seudat Hamafseket, mutar lachzor ve'le'echol, ela im ken kibel alav beferush, shelo le'echol od. Right, what does that mean? Od hayom, meaning like this. For example, let's say you come, and we have mincha here at 8 o'clock. And the ta'anit will only start, let's say, at around, 8:10. So a person comes and they eat at 7 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, whatever the time is, they finish the meal, they're preparing, and all of a sudden they're thirsty, they want to drink. So says the halacha, says Maran, unless you were mekabel al atzmecha, right, befirush, which means unless you completely accept it upon yourself to start the fast, or to not eat anymore, whichever one that it is, it's going to be the same. So then, as long as you didn't do neither of those two, you're allowed to drink or to eat whatever you want. There's no problem whatsoever, especially the drinking, because remember, the eating, it could be that if it's again you're going to be eating, you have to be careful that you're not allowed to have, if that's going to be now the Seudat Hamafseket, you're not allowed to come now and have another type of a food. But to do with the drinking, for sure you're allowed to drink. The Mishnah Berurah does bring down that nevertheless, it's nachon yoter latno befirush bapeh belev she'eno mekabel alav ta'anita ben hashashot. That you should try to counteract that. That means that this is the shita of the Mishnah Berurah. If you didn't do so, it's still going to be okay. But the Mishnah Berurah says that if a person, it's still better that they should say with their mouth or even in their mind that I'm not going to accept upon myself the fast until ben hashashot. Why? Because we know that it starts by shikiyah, it starts by sunset, the ta'anit, so on Erev Tisha B'Av on Wednesday, and therefore a person should have in mind, or he should say explicitly, even if I'm going to say Birkat Hamazon a half an hour earlier, I'm not starting the fast until Ben Hashashot. Why? Because that way you would be able to come to the Bet Knesset and you would still be able, whether it's to drink or things like that, because again, it's not going to start until later on. That means even if a person did forget to do that, technically it's still okay according to Maran, until he did the opposite, that he said that I'm starting the fast or I'm not eating anymore. But it's still better to come and say, you know what, I'm not starting the fast until Ben Hashashot. And then by doing that, I'm still allowed to drink on Erev Tisha B'Av until Mamash Shekiyah.